Hello dear students, myself Dr. Kumari Anamika, Department of Commerce, the Graduate School College for Women, Jamshedpur. Today my video is for the students of semester 3 BCom honors uh, for their paper auditing and corporate governance. And the topic that will be discussed in this video is corporate governance. The word corporate governance has two elements. The first is corporate and the second one is governance. Let's start with the word corporate. The word corporate has its Latin origin from the word corpus, which means group or association. The corporate houses are large business associations or groups which are owned by stockholders. These stockholders share profits and losses from the business operations. They have a separate legal entity and they can sue other firms and individuals and get sued by them. So this is what we know about corporate. So corporate is large business house or an association with a large number of owners. Now the second word is governance. So what is governance? This governance word also has a Latin origin from the word governere, which means to steer or to direct and control a particular group. So governance means an act of governing through laws, norms, power, or language also. Governance is establishment of policies and continuous monitoring for implementation of these policies by a governing body. The objective of governance is to enhance the prosperity and viability of that organization. So governance is very important for directing and controlling any group or an organization. Now when we combine the words corporate and governance, we get the word corporate governance, and which is our topic for today. So what is corporate governance? Corporate governance implies the mechanisms, the laws, the rules, the procedures, the processes that are adopted to operate, to direct, to control a business or a company. It is a system or a setup for distribution of rights and responsibilities among various participants of the companies, like management, employees, and other participants. The board of directors have a pivotal role in the governance process. Means they are the main person who lead the governance process. Means governance itself means leading a group, and board of directors are the people who lead the entire group or the business houses. The governance process includes setting up of objectives, preparing plans and procedures to achieve these objectives, and all these things are done under the purview of the given rules or the laws that are prevalent in the system or in the area in which the business is to be operated. And the heart of the corporate governance is thus the basic things like transparency, full disclosure, accountability, and integrity. So good governance involves a transparent system where everything is information is flowing or filtering top to down and from down to top in a transparent manner. There is full disclosure, nothing is kept secret. There is accountability, people are assigned jobs and given responsibilities, and they are made accountable for their own share of task. And definitely there is integrity, there is union of or unity among the activities, so everyone is working towards a common goal of which is set up by the board of directors, that is to maximizing the profits and the wealth of the business concern. This corporate governance is used to protect and promote the interest of all categories of stakeholders. We know there are various stakeholders in an enterprise. The primary stakeholders are the shareholders, and then there are employees, customers, management, the public, society, government, environment. So these are the various stakeholders that are involved in any business organization. And corporate governance is aimed to protect and promote the interest of each and every stakeholders of the concern. And why this corporate governance got its place, which is very important these days. uh, it is basically due to the concept of divorce between ownership, between management and owners. So the owners of big or large enterprises are shareholders, and they are in such large numbers that it is not possible for each and every shareholder to participate in the day-to-day affairs of the business. So practically they cannot manage the business, so they on their behalf appoint the board of directors to look, to manage, to control the business affairs. So they have been entrusted, or they are entrusted, great deal of responsibility from their shareholders. So board of directors responsibility includes means setting up of objectives and aims for the organization, then determining strategies on how these objectives and aims can be accomplished. They have to provide sound leadership to put all these strategies into effect. They have to implement it. Then implementation process requires supervision. So board of directors supervise the entire management, which is divided into 3 tiers, that is top level, middle level and lower level of management. So they supervise the management. And last but not the least, that is they have to report to the shareholders who are on behalf of whom they are working in the organization. So corporate governance owes its existence due to this concept of divorce between ownership in the company setup. Now let's get into the framework of corporate governance, or framework we can understand as the basic structure of corporate governance. So if there is corporate governance, there must be 4 essential things. That is, first one is goal or objective, that must be determined. It must be very clearly stated. The second one is vision, and third is mission and strategy. So there is goal, there is vision, there is mission, and then strategies are framed in order to achieve these goals. And the entire corporate governance revolves around these 4 things. Now, for efficient or effective corporate governance, there are management boards, supervisory boards and committees. So they are the person, or they are the groups which manage the entire activities of the business concern. Then next structure component is that values and ethics. So ethical code of conduct is necessary. So there are ethical codes which are followed. There are best practices that has to be maintained in the business for an effective and efficient system to be operational. Apart from values and ethics, there are policies and regulatory framework as well. When we talk about regulatory framework, we are talking about the existing laws, bylaws, the rules and regulations, even the internal rules and principles and policies that guide the activities and affairs of the business. So every corporate house has to abide by the rules and regulations, and they have to work in conformity with them, so that their act is legal as well as moral. Now next framework component is monitoring and internal control. We have set the objectives, we have defined the strategies or the processes that would be followed. Now monitoring is also important. So to monitor the activities of the affairs of the business, there is internal control system which has to be set up in the business, so that each and every level of activity is checked, counter checked, so to minimize the errors and problems, to attain maximum results. So monitoring system or control system is very important in corporate governance, and it is the primary component or part of the structure of the corporate framework. The next one is risk and performance management. We all know that risk is inherent in every business. No business can avoid risk We can definitely minimize it by proper management. If we can we have leaders who can foresee such business risk to an extent and make a planning prior to its occurrence, then definitely it can be minimized. So efficient risk management system must be there, and performance management system must be there for good and effective corporate governance. So this is also the component of a basic corporate governance system. Then CSR activities, that is corporate social responsibility activities, are another component. This activity just implies that since any business owes its existence in the society, it is a part of the society, it operates in a society, it takes all the resources from the society. So it is a give and take kind of relationship. If you are taking from the society, in turn you have to do something for the society from the profit that you have earned. So from that point of view, CSR activities are also very important and essential component of corporate governance. And very crucial component is transparency and accountability. Definitely transparency unites the entire organization. Then transparency means each and every level of employees or the participants are well aware, well known of the strategies, the plans, the procedures, the processes that has to be conducted in the business. So there is no secrecy and everyone has faith, and they all work unitedly, collectively towards a common goal. And every individual also has his own share of work or job or activity that has to be done, and that person is accountable for that. So accountability and transparency, these both concepts are very much crucial for a good corporate governance system. So the basic framework or structure of corporate governance can be summed up as a system which has well-defined objectives, which is operating under vision and mission and strategies for it, and the entire thing can be done by various boards and committees. There are values and ethics, there are policies and regulatory frameworks, monitoring and internal control system right on place. There is risk and performance management system which is working effectively. There are CSR activities, and this entire system is transparent and accountable. So this was the corporate governance framework. Now there are from these framework we can just bring about the elements of corporate governance. So what are the various elements of corporate governance? The first one is direction. From the definition itself we get this element. Corporate governance means to direct and control a business or a group of people who are operating for a business purpose. So direction means overall direction, overall directing a firm or an enterprise and make strategic decisions which are related to current as well as future related problems. So these things are very important in corporate governance system. So direction is the primary element of any corporate governance system. The second element is independence of director. This is very important. The directors of the company are the leaders. Actually they are leading, they are just guiding, the steering the entire organization. So if they are not independent, there might be prejudices, there might be partialities. So to avoid prejudices and partiality, it is essential that no director is related to any of the managerial staff or employees. Means they should not be in any influential position, and they should not use their power for wrong reasons. So that is the basic element, that directors should be independent, they should not be related to anyone in the company. Now the third element is effective risk management. As we have discussed in the framework, risk management is very important, and normally risk arises out due to competitors' behavior or to some natural or man-made disasters, or it might arise due to external factors like economic factors which the company or the enterprise has no control over it. So all these risks can be managed, mitigated if effective risk management system is present or prevalent in the organization. So good corporate governance system ensures that there is effective risk management system in the company. The next element is the organization. A very solid and strong organization system or structure is required to monitor the company affair. If a system has to be transparent, has to be reliable, then definitely a sound organization is required. So good corporate governance is definitely a system wherein a sound organization system is in place. The next element is stakeholders relations. Now we've just discussed who are the stakeholders in a business, and every stakeholder has some interest involved in the business. So promotion and protection of interest with a balance means no interest should clash with the interest of other stakeholders. One stakeholder's interest should not clash with other stakeholders interest. So to avoid this conflict, to maintain harmonious relationship between the interest of the stakeholders, it is essential that good corporate governance looks or establishes an equilibrium or balance between the stakeholders interests, so that their relations are cordial and it is in the favor of company's performance. The next essential element is transparency. We've discussed this right now. Transparency means just making everything clear and crystal. Nothing is secretive. Everyone is aware of each and every important aspect of the business. So if the transparency is there in the corporate governance system, then it unites the organization and trust and reliability is built, which is very positive for any organization. Then corporate citizenship, this is a buzzing word in the corporate sector, and corporates find it very important to place their corporate citizenship status in front of the public. So what is corporate citizenship? It is the social and environmental responsibility of the corporate sectors. Means whatever the philanthropic activities or charitable acts they do comes under this citizenship concept. So it altogether implies the responsible policies and practices that are being adopted by any corporate house that accounts for corporate citizenship. So means whatever they are doing for the society, for the environment, for charitable purposes are all corporate citizenship aspects, and if this aspect is sound, it is said to be a good corporate governance. And the last eighth element is self-evaluation. Self-evaluation, as we know, is very important to assess one's performance. So any business organization must carry this process of self-evaluation if it has to find out what were the problems, what were the weaker areas where we have failed, so that if necessary steps are required, it can be taken on time, and remedial actions can definitely help come out of these situations. So self-evaluation is necessary for good governance system. So these are the basic elements of corporate governance. So in this video we'll be discussing this much only. In the next video we'll be definitely looking forward to other aspects of corporate governance. Thank you.